So I was wanting to explore one of English's greats, Shakespeare. One of English's greats. Apparently Shakespeare created like 1/3 of all the English words, like 10,000 words Shakespeare come up with. That motherfucker just created that. What a creative son of a bitch, huh? That old Shakespeare, you're a creative son of a bitch, huh? So we're going to take a look at Comedy of Errors. What's this Comedy of Errors about? I mean, this is the great Shakespeare, right? The great Shakespeare. Shakespeare, that's probably how they said it back in his time. So what's the Shakespeare gonna... Here's a brief synopsis of Comedy of Errors. You got a merchant of Syracuse. Aegon suffered a shipwreck some years ago. He was separated from his wife Amelia from one of his twin sons. Later, Antipholus of Ephesus, and the son's slave, Dromino of Ephesus. Wait, what? The other slave's twin, Dromino of Syracuse, and Aegon's remaining son, Antipholus of Syracuse, remained with Aegon. When he came of age, Antipholus of Syracuse was allowed to go in search of his lost brother. After a period of time, Aegon then set out after his remaining son, and the play begins as we learn of Aegon's capture and his condemnation to death by Duke Solinus in the hostile city of Ephesus. The details of Aegon's story move Solinus to pity. He grants a reprieve until nightfall, by which time a ransom of 1,000 marks must be raised. The twist of plot arise when Antipholus of Syracuse arrives with his slave in Ephesus, where Antipholus' twin brother, together with his wife Adriana and their twin slave, reside, and then confusion mounts upon confusion, and they get confused. One's a twin, and then the other's a twin, and then they're slaves. They're twins too, the two Drominos. So you got Antipholus, and Dromino. They're both named the same. They have the same name, slave, and they're just two brothers who got lost, and then they get reunited, and there's just hijinks, just so many hijinks, ensue. So yeah, apparently there is like some hijinks. They basically, goddamn it, motherfucker. How many sister and motherfucking that one show and then that other show. All the goddamn shows, they do the twins, right? They have the twins, and it's no. I thought you was the other one, and you was the one, and you was the other one, but it turns out you was the original one, but it wasn't the other one at all. So I feel like I've seen that, literary device several times. What really turned me off with this, I'm sure there might have been some funny fucking things, but slavery is not fucking funny. Jesus Christ there, Shakespeare. I didn't know Shakespeare was Mr. fucking KKK. I didn't know goddamn William Shakespeare's Mr. Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis. All Jefferson Davis called there Shakespeare. He wants his goddamn philosophy back. I had no idea that goddamn Shakespeare was a Jefferson Davis, motherfucker. Just sitting there saying, well, you got this, you got these two, twins, and they both own slaves who are twins too. They're slaves? That sounds like a tragedy. Are they going to overthrow, or the twin slaves are going to overthrow the... No, they're just going to... And then here, Act 2, Scene 2, you have Antipholus of Syracuse beats Dromino of Syracuse, this time for his former insolence, warning him in the future to be precise when the time is right for jesting. Know my aspect. So you got Dromino of Syracuse who's trying to joke around and shit, and Antipholus is all pissed off, and he's like, you better know when it's, know when to hold him, know when to fold him, you son of a bitch, Dromino takes the beating, completely ignorant about the reason for it, after which the two engage in witty dialogue about time. Well, thank you for beating me. Did you know that time is relative? What the fuck is going on here? You know, before I was like, maybe it's like a servant, like a wage, you know, servant or indentured servant, but it's like serfdom. It's slavery, motherfucker. This shit ain't funny. I can't read the goddamn story. This is terrible. This story is awful. That motherfucker, Shakespeare is like an aristocrat. He's an aristocratic piece of shit. And this aristocratic piece of shit is going to try to tell me that, what, the fucking masters beating up slaves is hilarious? Yeah, right. So, I was going to pull up some goddamn Frederick Douglass quotes. You want to talk about motherfucking slavery, you son of a bitch? Let's talk, you know, here's what Frederick Douglass has to say. You know, if you, instead of goddamn putting witty dialogue in the, it says that, I mean, they're witty dialogue. He's beating his fucking smart slave. What a dickhead, you know, just what a fucking prick. Frederick Douglass quote. It's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. It is not light that we need, but fire. Is not the gentle shower, but the thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. I prayed for 20 years but received no answer until I prayed with my legs. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, it never will. One and God make a majority. I didn't know I was a slave until I found out I couldn't do the things I wanted. I prefer to be true to myself, even at the hazard of incurring the ridicule of others, rather than to be false and to incur my own abhorrence. To suppress free speech is a double wrong. It violates the rights of the hearer as well as those of the speaker. The white man's happiness cannot be purchased by the black man's misery. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of whom they oppress. People might not get all that they work for in this world, but they must certainly work for all that they get. The soul that is within me, no man can degrade. The life of the nation is secure only while the nation is honest, truthful, and virtuous. The thing worse than rebellion is the thing that caused the rebellion. We have to do with the past only as we can make it useful to the present and the future. A man's character always takes its hue, more or less, from the form and color of things about him. What to the slave is the 4th of July? No man can put a chain about the ankle of his fellow man without at last finding the other end fastened about his own neck. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will be imposed upon them. America is false to the past, false to the present, and solemnly binds herself to be false to the future. A little learning indeed can be a dangerous thing, but the want of learning is a calamity to any people. That which is inhuman cannot be divine. A battle lost or won is easily described, understood, and appreciated, but the moral growth of a great nation requires reflection as well as observation to appreciate it. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. Man's greatness consists in his ability to do and the proper application of his powers to things needed to be done. Experience demonstrates that there may be wages of slavery only a little less galling and crushing in its effects than chattel slavery, and that this slavery of wages must go down with the other. I could, as a free man, look across the bay towards the eastern shore where I was born a slave. There is not a man beneath the canopy of heaven who does not know that slavery is wrong for him. When men sow the wind, probably could go on and on. Fucking Frederick Douglass. That's dignified, though. I mean, what did Nat Turner say? Of course, the great Nat Turner. Nat Turner, he said, fuck you white sons of bitches, you blue-eyed devils, you fucking white cracker, pinko, stinko, gringo motherfucking pieces of shit, you goddamn cracker devil motherfuckers, you blue-eyed devils. Why don't you go straight to hell? Why don't you go straight to hell, you dumb sons of bitches, you fucking evil, wicked sons of bitches? Last but not least, Aesop. Aesop, here's a slave right here. Motherfucker was a slave in the times of Greece. Aesop the slave. And he's got a story about a slave. And I want to read about it. Aesop is a Greek fabulist and storyteller credited with a number of fables, now credited with Aesop's fables. So I'm going to, let's see here. They said that he was a strikingly ugly slave. An ancient literary work called the Aesop Romance. Aristotle, Herodotus, Plutarch. They said he was an ugly slave who by his cleverness acquired freedom and became an advisor to kings and city-states. Older spellings of his name have included Aesop and Aesop and depictions of Aesop in popular culture over the last 2,500 years have included many works of art. His appearance as a character in numerous books, films, plays, and television programs. So, a fabulist. Who is Aesop? Well, he's a fabulist. He is a fabulist. What is a fabulist? Of course, a fabulist is a person who writes or tells fables. He's a fabulist, fabuloso fable teller. He can stretch a yarn like nobody else. He's one of them yarn stretchers. So the story in Aesop, I thought he was a slave. I still think he's a slave. I like that. But he's a slave back in the times of the Greeks, right? So he's like, that's what they founded democracy, but not for Aesop. But then Aesop figured out a way, and now they, compiled all these cute little stories about fucking grasshoppers and ants and, the thief and the bull and the goat and the ant and the dove and the Mercury and the sculptor and the ass and the lion and the bear and the fox and the cat and the lark and the ass's shadow. Androcles in the lion. Lion has a thorn inside of its paw. Androcles comes across the lion with a thorn in it, pulls the thorn out, and then the lion and Androcles are best friends, famously getting along, best fucking buddies. But then guess what? The damn fucking Romans, right? I mean, this is goddamn. They said they're going to be used in the circus, and there's an emperor. So it doesn't say the Romans, it just says the emperor. But they go ahead and capture the lion, and they capture Androcles, the slave, and they were going to throw the slave into the lion, and the lion was going to, eat him in front of the circus, in front of everybody in the spectacle, the amphitheater, right before the emperor's box. But when the lion was let loose, rushed bounding and roaring towards his victim, instead he recognized his buddy, and he fawned upon the slave instead of wanting. So Androcles and the lion says that when you're fucking best friends, gratitude is not a quality limited to man. So, you help that lion out. That lion was your best friend. You think that lion's going to kill you now? No, that lion's your friend. What the fuck? The ass's shadow. On a hot summer day, a youth hired an ass to carry him from Athens to Megara. At midday, the heat of the sun was so scorching that, feeling faint, he dismounted to rest himself in the shadow of the ass. Thereupon the driver disputed the place with him, declaring that he had an equal right to it with the other. What? Exclaimed the youth. Did I not hire the ass for the whole journey? Yes, indeed, said the driver. You hired the ass, but you did not hire the ass's shadow. And while they were wrangling, the ass took to his heels and ran away. Too many disagreements have naught but a shadow for a basis. Too many disagreements have naught but a shadow for a basis. Fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. The hell do I want to listen to goddamn Shakespeare when I got Aesop? Aesop's fables are quick, to the point. They got a good fucking moral. What, comedy errors? Oh, there was a twin, and then there's another twin, and he thought he was the original twin, and they all thought they was the original twin. Nobody knew who they were, and everybody just thought it was so funny. Oh, and then he beat the shit out of the slave. And the end. The end. Shakespeare, that's a terrible fucking, he's back in the 1500s, so I guess, it's not fair to judge by but people say, oh, he's a classic. The Merchant of Venice. I didn't like, there's a lot of Shakespeare I don't like, but the Merchant of Venice, that I liked. So maybe I'll talk about the Merchant of Venice one day.